Good morning and welcome to Topics and Tangents here on Gaming with ADHD. Now, this is going to be interesting because things are a little bit of a mess. I haven't quite figured out what's going on with StreamYard, but I've got a few things to talk about today. Some fun updates and news in the industry. So we are going to get into that here in a minute. Just having to reset a couple of things. Anyhow, how is everyone doing tonight? There we go. That's the one I want. Wasn't quite ready for that. Anyhow, but yeah, there's cool new Kickstarters going on, and then some announcements from some of my favorite companies, and all sorts of good stuff. Give me 1 second. I have to reshare a link. And all right, now I can stop being a disaster. So sorry about all of that, everybody. All right, so big news of the day, at least for me. If you were here last week, you would have seen my interview with Tom Mason, and he had his Frog Nights Kickstarter go live today, which kind of excited about. So let's see here. Switch to that and then to there. All right, actually, I'm going to put me down at the bottom. All right, so this is the Frog Nights Kickstarter. He was looking to raise $2,500 for a set of 14 different Frog Nights. Now, if you were here last week, you will have seen that there were only 3 models that we had available to preview. And he has actually expanded that, and I wasn't aware that he was going to. So that was actually pretty cool to see. Give me just 1 second. Just realized I needed to update a couple of more things. Anyways, so they've got 14 new Frog Nights with 3 different of the croakers and 3 different tadpolemen, and then 5 individual Frog Nights. And that doesn't even count Sir Frogsworth from the original Kickstarter. So that's actually pretty cool. Let's see here. All right, now that I finally have all of the appropriate links updated and out for everyone, we can take a look at this. So let's start by looking at this full image. So we've got the 5 Frog Nights up here. Honestly, I haven't decided if this one with the lance going forward is my favorite, or this little guy kind of, screaming. Overall, I really, really like the look of this. As far as the croakers, I absolutely love this guy with the axe, him bellowing as he is. These guys they're just on a 1-inch base, which, let's see, actually here, we'll switch back to my camera. So we've got the, man, that does not show well in this format. Anyways, that is the Croaker. Tom was kind enough to send me some previews, and I am going to be painting them up this weekend, and so I'm pretty excited for that one. But yes, they've got the 3 different poses for the Croakers, and then you have the 3 different weapons for the Tadpoleman. In my preview video, I did say I was a little disappointed with the Tadpoleman because essentially all he did was change the top of the pole arm as far as the different look, but overall I don't care. It's Tom. They look great. Maybe we'll see some different poses with some stretch goals, but I am also not a sculptor, so I can't promise that. But either way, they look really, really good. All right, so basically there are 3 different units. You can get them individually. $30 for the 3 different Croakers, $25 for 6 Tadpolemen, and $35 for 5 different Frog Knights. Combined, you can pay $70, so it does save you about $20 to get the Order of the Pond, which will get you all 14 miniatures. They also have the $125 Frog Knight Regiment. Basically, you get 2 sets of the miniatures. And then we've got the $275 70 miniature, basically 5 sets, Frog Knight Army. This is a lot. I'm not sure I would want to go that big, but I am thinking about doing the Order of the Pond. I'd love to have just a full set of these, all led by Sir Frogsworth, of course. Which, if you are, actually, I just realized that Tom didn't include those as an add-on. He did not include the Adventures of Little Knife and Cronin as one of the add-ons, but they are available on his website. You can pick that up there as well. Let's see. You can add on the Goblin Headache. That was his first second Kickstarter for this line. And then the Gnome Guard Patrol, which was the last Kickstarter. I do still need to get my Gnome Greenskeeper, but that's a separate issue. Anyways, and then obviously you can add individual units if you want. So here are some more close-ups of the 3D renders. So he did mention in our interview that he has switched over to 3D sculpting as opposed to green stuff sculpting. So these it's nice to be able to have the renders, but I'll be honest, the actual cast metal ones that I got from him still looked really good, and really liked those. So then obviously we've got a little bit of a scale comparison here. What I used in my video was one of the Renegade Game Studios G.I. Joe miniatures. So they're a little bit shorter than a 32 millimeter human, as you can see here. We've got this guy from Oathmark, but then a little bit taller than a Games Workshop Goblin. Let's see. $7 shipping after the Kickstarter's done, and there you go. So this is the Frog Knights. I am pretty excited for this. Tom, again, does absolutely fantastic work. Anyways, so just noticed this. He did add a little bit of a story. You guys all know how I like stories in games. Saying, in the heart of an enchanted wood lies a mystical mountain. At the highest peak bubbles an ensorcelled spring of ever streaming down until spilling over a bluff into a sparkling waterfall. Over centuries, rivulets began to form until one day the magical waters flowed into a still pond. The denizens of this pool would be forever changed by these otherworldly powers. And that is the origin of our Frog Knights. So pretty cool there. So there will be a link in the description. I'm actually kind of surprised that I didn't do it yet. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and add that while slacking off. Actually, we're not slacking off, you know that. But anyways, so like I said, I really like what Tom does. Really nice anyways. So nice to see this up and running. Nice to see that he's already that it's already funded. He like I said, he was only asking for $2,500. And the fact that he's over $3,000 already is really good to see. That gives a good positive boost to it. So hopefully he'll see a lot more on that. All right. So next thing I wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk about HeroScape Age of Annihilation. Now I talked about it a few weeks ago, basically when it went live. And as you can see, well, I'm not sure. Well, hopefully you can see. Let's zoom in a little bit. They were hoping to get 8,000 people to back this, and they're not even halfway. And there's only 5 days left. They put this up about a month and a half ago. It was about 5 weeks ago when it went live, and I wanted to bring this up because I've got some theories as to why it's not funding. So they've redone this preview image, which actually let's move that. I didn't like how it was moving around constantly. The first image that they put up had everything kind of put together on top of each other, so you couldn't really see how all of the individual parts combined. And while I understand what they were saying, it didn't really show it off. Hey, welcome, Wardrobe. Nice to see you again. I'm assuming you're talking about the Age of Annihilation Kickstarter. As far as going quickly, basically they put up the image where everything was kind of on top of each other. People couldn't quite understand how much they were getting, so they split it off and they put out this image. And to be honest with you, I don't. Well, let me start over. I don't think they quite knew what they were doing. Yeah, Wardrobe, I agree. HeroScape has a big following. We actually got our stuff, well, didn't get it out. We were reorganizing the garage and found it the other day. Have a giant storage tub of HeroScape. And the thing is, so I'd gotten one Rise of Valkyrie and two of the second starter set that they did, and and I've got more stuff than this, and I didn't go whole hog like a lot of players did, but I remember even back then the starter sets were $40 to $60, so they were not that expensive. And while you didn't get as many miniatures, you got about as much terrain. You didn't get all the walls. You got a couple of walls and a couple of other things, but for the most part, as far as the base tiles, you didn't get much more than what's here, at least as far as I can tell. It's I think honestly, I think they got greedy. You're right, Wardrobe. There are a ton of other games out there, but if you think about it, like I cover a lot of BattleTech on my channel. BattleTech's been around for almost 40 years now. Sometimes more popular than others. Obviously it's seeing a resurgence with the new miniatures, with the Clan Invasion Kickstarter that they did. But even then, there still are the ebbs and flows. And I think HeroScape, I think the bigger problem is the fact that they wanted $250 right out the gate. Like why they didn't start this, for lack of a better way to put it, like a normal Kickstarter, put in, hey, here's a $60 set, have, just a small amount of the terrain, a couple of small factions of miniatures, but here's a $60 buy-in and you can get going. Like the tiles, it doesn't matter that you're giving me gray, green, and brown. It's one mold, and you can reuse that all over the place. So they could have easily have given a $60 starter set and then done add-ons. You want a castle add-on, that's another $40. You want, the faction number 3, that's another $40. You want trees, that's $30. And I'm just making up numbers. But like, Kickstarters, a lot of times people are going to come in. It's like, okay, you'll get 50 people that are just going to buy for the main core set, but then in the add-ons, they're going to spend $400, getting the stuff that they want to make the game, their collection. And why Hasbro didn't do something like that? They did something similar when they did Hero Quest, that they had the base and they had expansions, and I think they were now I need to find it. Hero Quest Hasbro Pulse. Okay, so all right, so here's Hero Quest, and they wanted $100. I'll admit I could understand $100 nowadays for especially a very miniatures heavy board game. But so you have two different tiers: $100 for the heroic tier, and then $150 for the mythic tier, where you get 2 more expansions, and that doesn't even include any stretch goal add-ons. So like heroic tier, this is what you get. Yes, you're getting a board. No, you're not getting all of the 3D terrain, but so what? Again, go with some sort of a starter set. 76 miniatures in the box. You want to tell me that the terrain for HeroScape is worth another $150? All things compared, I don't know. I'm a little annoyed because, again, it's Hasbro, so it's not like they're a tiny company that's hoping to get funded. I understand, wanting to make sure that there is a market for a product. They're going directly to the consumers. If they'd gotten buy-in from distributors, how much more would they have been able to produce, cut the cost down, things like that. But yeah, they could have easily split this up into 8 different pieces and and break it out in such a way that that people would be happy to back it. I mean, another point, if you look at Hero Quest, they were looking at a dollar amount. They weren't looking at how many individual backers. So for Age of Annihilation, they said, okay, we need 8,000 people in on this. Why not just say we need $1 million? And again, break it up, put it into pieces, let people pick what they're going to want, or maybe they're going to come in and, okay, I'll do $60. I'll do the starter set. And then over time, as things get unlocked, as reveals come out, it's like, okay, I'll add a little bit more. I mean, Kickstarter as a model, game companies know how to do this. And again, you're Hasbro. Why aren't you able to, to at least leverage some of that, experience in the market? So regardless, I mean, I'm a little disappointed to see this. I would like to see HeroScape return. And to be honest with you, I think Hasbro's going to do something. They have to. They already spent all of the money for, or at least I believe they spent the money for the tooling, or they still have the tooling. That could be the other thing. I mean, to keep the terrain compatible, are they having to cut new tools, or do they still have it in a factory somewhere and really all they're doing is spinning it up? At which point, again, why is the cost so high? And and just driving people away from it as opposed to bringing the new players in. So anyways, that's that. Little disappointed, just figured I'd bring it up because I had mentioned it on one of my streams previously. So there's that. Let's see. So next thing I wanted to talk about was BattleTech. So I've got or they announced a couple of days ago that they're going to launch the Mercenaries Kickstarter on March 23rd. They'd already announced that they were going to push it back to March. Now they announced that they're going to launch it at Adepticon in Schaumburg, Illinois. Now, I wasn't at Adepticon this year, and the last Adepticon was 2019. Just before everything shut down, but they had the new Game of Armored Combat and beginner boxes out, which were basically the first of the new miniatures. They've always had like a small presence, but not very much. So I'm kind of curious to see how they'll mix in. Adepticon, if you're not familiar with it, is a very miniatures heavy convention, but if you like miniatures games, it's fantastic because even the dealers hall, like if you go to Gen Con, like half of the dealers hall is not going to be interesting to any given player. Whether it's costumes, cosplay, or games that you have no interest in, or styles of games you have no interest in. At least with Adepticon, because it's all miniatures. Even if it's not for a game that you play, maybe they put out terrain that you like, or maybe they put out paint that you haven't seen before, or whatever it is. So there's it is a really, really unique show, even though I think it caps out around 3,000 to 4,000 people. So it's very, very small compared to other conventions, but I do think they cater to that niche market really, really well. So with BattleTech, to me, I always look at it more of a board game as opposed to a miniatures game, even though it uses miniatures. But it does have a lot of crossover. But they have announced they're going to have more than 50 new figures, including mechs, armored vehicles, support vehicles, helicopters, which we've seen a couple of, and battle armor, and apparently a new aerospace fighter. They didn't announce the aerospace fighter. It was, I can't remember, and I'm not going to bother looking it up at the moment, but it was the fighter from the clan invasion that killed Ilkhan Lincoln Osis during the clan invasion. And so they surprised everybody by including that in the Kickstarter Kickstarter packages. So apparently they're going to have at least a second aerospace fighter, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get a clan fighter this time, as opposed to an inner sphere one, but we will see. And I apologize for all of the noise coming from the kitchen. They know I'm on stream, and my son loves to make as much noise as possible. So anyways, all right, so yeah, it's gonna be kind of interesting. They say they're gonna have all sorts of events going on throughout the weekend, showing it off. So it will be actually pretty interesting to see, and obviously I will follow up and let everyone know what's happening. All right, next thing. Okay, so this came out from Mantic. They had their open day this weekend, and let's show this off. So I just hope that the sound is going to come through. All right, let's go ahead and play it. All right, so that's, that is the preview for the next Terrain Crate Kickstarter that they're going to do. And first off, if you didn't know, this is Ronnie Renton. He owns Mantic, and Ronnie is fantastic. Absolutely love that guy unapologetically. He is awesome. He is super kind to everyone. And so really, really like that. But a couple things I wanted to point out. So for this one, terrain everywhere, none of it to drink. Yes, I totally get what you're saying, Mech Frog. And welcome to the show, buddy. Good to see you here. I've been meaning to talk to you. I am going to have to get you on at some point. So, just we're gonna have to coordinate something. But I know how to reach you. So there's that. Anyways, so they've had their terrain crate out for a while. They started with their Dead Zone terrain, which is really good. I really do like it. And it is perfect for Dead Zone, even if it's very square, which it kind of has to be because of the way that Dead Zone works. But basically, Ronnie was talking during Mantic Open Day about just having kind of uninspiring tables, just like all the companies kind of make horrible trees, and everybody just deals with horrible trees. And that was one of the things that kind of frustrated him the most. So a lot of what they are going to be doing is these trees where they've got bases and different components to actually build them up. But one thing I wanted to point out, which I'm not quite sure how to zoom in a little bit more, but what you see on that the trees are sitting on. So the trees are basically they're going to be putting out play mats, which I mean, play mats aren't new or unique, but they're also going to be putting out these neoprene templates for buildings. So like if you're playing and Ronnie even used Warhammer 40K specifically as an example, where if you've got a building but it's ruined, kind of like these are, you have to know where inside and outside of the building count. And so basically they're going to include some of these little neoprene templates that you can put your terrain on, so that way this is the actual footprint of the building. They're going to do the same for the trees, so that's good. Mantic, I think, is doing a lot of really good stuff for, I don't want to call it budget wargaming, but at least making them reducing the barrier to entry. You can get starter sets for factions for about $40. You can get starter sets for the games, which give you full rule books, all the tokens, templates, a good selection of terrain, 2 factions for about $100. Mantic, I don't cover them enough on the channel like I should, but they do really, really good work, and I'm super excited to see this. I want to see more of what they're going to be doing. Obviously, they've got some examples of these different alien trees that are going to be part of it. But I'd like to see more of what they're going to be offering. But regardless, it's going to be good. Some people didn't like some of the things that Mantic's put out. Sometimes they'll go with PVC miniatures, which aren't as rigid, but they are moving. They've been upgrading a lot of what they do, but still keeping it, budget friendly. You're not going to go broke playing Mantic games. And honestly, I wish more companies would do that. So I'm looking forward to this. I don't know when they're going to launch this. I'm guessing if they put this out now, probably if not later this year, early next would be my guess. But they did show off some more examples of it and at their open day, and so hopefully there's going to be some more of that, more information coming out soon. Let's see. Okay, so this actually came out today. This is Star Wars Shatterpoint. So I haven't actually watched this preview yet. I just saw the announcement, so let's take a look at it. All right. So summer 2023. I sent this to my son this morning when the announcement dropped, and his first reaction was kind of why they already have Star Wars Legion, but what little I read about it before watching the video, it's more squad based, so it's much smaller number of models, probably no more than 10 to a side. Um, I did read somewhere that it's supposed to be like 40 millimeter miniatures, which are it's supposed to be closer in scale to what they're doing with Marvel Crisis Protocol, which I have been curious about, but they're expensive, so I've kind of avoided it. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. I mean, they're clearly starting with Clone Wars era. Looked very much like the cartoon. The models I thought looked fantastic out of this. So depending on how it goes, it could be really interesting. Obviously we'll have to see. It says summer 2023, so I'm guessing it's probably a Gen Con release, would be my guess. But it's pretty interesting. Let's see. They say key features: create a Star Wars squad that is truly unique with beautifully sculpted and dynamic miniatures of identifiable Star Wars characters that are ideal for dedicated hobbyists and new painters alike. So it's going to be very, my understanding, it's going to be very much more character focused, as opposed to having troops and vehicles and just kind of generic stuff. I mean, there will be some of that. Obviously, we saw some of the droids, but I think it's going to focus on squads of say 3 or 4 characters, and then a few generics in support, would be my guess. Shatterpoint Games' fun and flexible squad building experience invites players to create custom strike teams optimized to complete the various mission objectives. Players can choose thematic squads straight from the Star Wars galaxy, like Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan, and Lord Maul and his loyalist super commandos, or mix and match their favorite characters to form the custom squads they want to play. So sounds like it won't be faction specific. And then battle. In the Shatterpoint game, players use their character's special abilities and diverse combat skills to control the flow of battle as they race against each other to compete dynamically evolving mission objectives. So obviously there is a lot going on there. Let's see. All right, I think I can look at all that later. Anyway, so Atomic Mass has been doing some interesting stuff since taking over the miniatures license from Fantasy Flight. I haven't tried Legion or played X-Wing since 2.0, but I still at least pay attention to what they're releasing. And I think this could be an interesting game. So I don't know. I will decide once they announce pricing and what kind of things are going to happen with it. But obviously that's not going to be until next summer. All right. I think this was the last thing that I wanted to mention. So Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I know I cover a lot of Shadowrun, but I have been wanting to dive a little bit into Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk Red does have a starter set out already, but they are going to be releasing a new one based on Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I really should put up a review on Sunday Storytime. If you haven't seen Edge Runners, it's fantastic. Be aware, lots of language. couple of adult situations early in the series. So if you have small children, be aware of that. But even those, while I would have much preferred that they be left out, I think they did kind of set the world of Cyberpunk really, really well. Just because of the fact that it shows average people and how technology, drug addiction, that kind of stuff, would evolve into the future. So I thought that was a little interesting. But regardless, the story was fantastic, and really did like it. But they are going to be releasing a specific starter set just based on Edge Runners. Now, this is one that does kind of confuse me. They've had Edge Runners, in production for, my guess would be at least a year, if not longer. Probably started about the time that they were working on the video game, so probably maybe even 3 or 4 years. But they've put out a series, and why didn't R. Talzorian have something ready to go at launch? I think it would have been a big boost to the game itself, in addition to the show, but that's me. Regardless, I wish they had given more information, maybe some images, but we will have to wait and see, because they also didn't even say when this is going to release, just that it's coming soon. So we will see what happens there. So all right, so that's pretty much everything that I've found so far for the week. Let's see. I have been I've been trying a couple of things with shorts. Basically, I've just been putting up painted miniatures for the most part, focusing on BattleTech, but I'm running out of BattleTech stuff that's painted. So I'm going to be putting up some different games that I've painted miniatures for. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else I should mention. Let's see. I don't know. I was hoping for a few more chats and comments so that I could, riff off of that. But it's a little low when I don't have a fantastic guest. So, but yeah, that's basically what I've got going on. If you watch for any of my other reviews, I've got I'm trying to do reviews of board games that are good for kids leading up to Christmas. So look for that on the channel as well. Those will come out on Tuesdays. And I'm doing that for the month of November. That way you have some ideas before you go out and do your Christmas shopping. Let's see. But yeah, that is pretty much all that I have for tonight. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it there. And then probably have a guest in. I've got a couple of more guests lined up, and should have one lined up for next week. And so we will do that. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Wardrobe, thanks for showing up again. Frog, good to see you here. And we will talk to you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.